You know, we discussed the virus on the show yesterday, just like everybody else. And I said I think I was wrong early on when I said this is panic about nothing or nearly nothing. The facts on the ground have changed, and enough doctors, virologists, epidemiologists, and other experts have weighed in. To this point, it's become pretty obvious, and I'm convinced that my initial approach and attitude was wrong. Now, I've gotten a fair amount of blowback from the show I did yesterday. Some people have really bought fully into the idea that this is nothing but hype. It's just it's a media thing. There are even some people who really do think it's a media hoax. I think that's a minority. People who think it's just almost invented. What's more common is, yeah, it's real, but it's not nearly as bad as everybody's saying. And that was my take on it a month and a half ago. But for me, it seems like the reality has become more clear. The facts have surfaced, enough facts anyway, and I'm going to change my mind. I think there are some people that they had that take early on, and they're going to ride with it. This is their official position on the coronavirus, and I'm sticking with it no matter what happens, all the way to the end. And I sort of understand part of that, because in some ways, it still doesn't feel real. I think that's part of the problem, that it's hard for us, it's hard for me, I admit, to accept that something so primitive and ancient and barbaric as a viral epidemic could intrude into our comfortable, safe, modern lives and turn everything upside down. It's hard to accept that. Especially when you still look around, and aside from the grocery store shelves being cleaned out. Other than that, most of us, depending on where you live, but most of us, we look around and everything seems pretty much normal. And so you think, well, it's normal. We take it for granted. It's always going to be normal. It always has been normal. It's going to continue being normal. This thing couldn't possibly turn our lives upside down, but it has, whether we choose to accept it or not. Governments across the world have quarantined entire populations. Some have gone so far as to track their infected citizens with GPS. That's what South Korea did. Italy, the mortality rate is 5%. Doctors are so overwhelmed they have to choose which patients to treat. Yes, they have an older population. Yes, that's true. But part of their problem, I read something to you yesterday from a doctor in Italy saying that our problem is, yes, we have older populations, but our biggest problem is we didn't take this seriously enough early on, and we got blindsided. And we know that the numbers of infected are trending up drastically, and medical experts are saying that it's going to get much worse. I don't have any information or evidence to disagree with them. If I were to say, nah, it's not going to get worse, I would be saying that purely based on what I hope is true. It's not like I have any scientific research that I can put up against what the medical experts are saying. I don't. Now, here in the United States, 1,300 reported cases just 2 weeks after President Trump said there were 15 cases and that he expected that to be close down to 0 very soon. That obviously has not happened. The number here is growing exponentially, even though very few Americans have been tested. I think the latest I saw is they're doing about 100 tests. Each state is doing maybe about 100 tests per day. The CDC has done 100 tests total in the last 2 weeks. That is not nearly enough. All of these factors, I think, explain why. Organizations like the NCAA and Disney have chosen to forfeit billions of dollars by shutting down their basketball season and theme park, respectively. I don't think we can chalk this up to simple panic. Businesses don't throw billions of dollars into the fire pit for no reason. They don't do it on an emotional whim. Now, you could say that they're doing it because of a concern for liability, and they've talked to the insurance companies, and I'm sure that's the case. But still, they wouldn't be forfeiting billions of dollars for fear of liability unless there was a real chance of there being some liability. And then, of course, we know we have states and towns. The state of Maryland shut down all the schools. All these things are happening. All of this to say that it's a damn shame we have a collection of partisan hacks and useless buffoons leading us through this crisis. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Matt Walsh Show. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right down there so you can stay up to date on all of our future content.